I'm Namrata Singh. Today I'm going to be talking about emergency funds. Now, what are emergency funds and why are they called emergency funds in the first place? Emergency funds are funds that we create for ourselves to help us during emergencies or unforeseen circumstances. The recent COVID crisis caught us off guard. We know of a lot of people whose personal lives were ruined. Nobody predicted COVID. Similarly, there could be a lot of other circumstances which could come and hit us. Job loss. हमारी नौकरी जा सकती है. Our family members may fall ill. हमारी या हमारे घर वालों की तबीयत खराब हो सकती है. घर को बहुत बड़ी मरम्मत की ज़रूरत पड़ सकती है. Our car may need repairs. All these things do not come with a warning. So, if we could plan or set aside funds in advance to meet such contingencies, it could help us in a big way. The emergency fund will ensure that we are not borrowing at high interest rates or withdrawing cash from credit cards. It will also help us ensure that we are not derailing our long-term investments, like the funds that we set aside for retirement or children's education, to meet short-term contingencies. It will basically create a safety net and help us reduce stress levels. Now, how much should we set aside into our emergency fund? In my view, we should set aside at least 4 to 6 months of our monthly expenses into the emergency fund. The monthly expense amount should include our EMIs. So if our monthly expense is 50,000 rupees, for simplicity, we should set aside a bare minimum of 2 lakhs into the emergency fund. The emergency fund allocation should increase as our expenses go up or as we age. Someone who's closer to retirement should be setting aside at least 24 months of monthly expenses into the emergency fund. What are the instruments that we can use to create the emergency fund? We can set aside funds into our savings account, bank fixed deposits, or by investing into liquid mutual funds. Bank fixed deposit rates are pretty high at this juncture. It's a good time to lock in the high rates. Liquid mutual funds are nothing but very short-term safe money market instruments which can be withdrawn at 1 day's notice. I would not recommend taking any risk when creating an emergency fund. Let's understand that emergency funds are getting created to meet or help us during a contingency, right? So we will not take any risk when we are creating an emergency fund. We need to ensure that we are using the emergency fund only for emergencies and no other purposes. We need to plan for a plan not going according to plan. A famous quote by Morgan Housel: "An emergency fund helps us do exactly that." The recent COVID crisis has made emergency funds a necessity in our lives. Let's promise ourselves to create an emergency fund for our own well-being and the well-being of our family members.